All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. What if I told you that the same laws of physics that keep a star from collapsing on itself are the exact same laws that govern our mental health? And not just that, but the stability of our entire society. That is the absolutely radical idea behind a framework called the Unified Coherence Protocol. It's a whole new way of looking at reality, so let's break it down.
So why this, why now? Well, the argument behind this whole protocol is that we're in a bit of a crisis. Think about it. All the old ways we used to agree on what's real, trust in institutions, shared facts, it feels like it's all fracturing, right? This framework isn't just some abstract theory. It's being proposed as a direct answer to all that chaos.
And the solution it offers is, well, it's pretty out there. It suggests we can't solve this problem by just arguing better or finding the perfect words. The issue isn't our language. The issue is our physics. It's not about how true an idea sounds. It's about how structurally sound it is.
And this right here, this is the central kind of mind-bending idea of the whole thing. Get ready for it. The protocol proposes that truth isn't a concept. It's not a statement. Truth is a shape, a specific, stable, geometric state. Yeah, you heard that right. So what on earth does that mean? Let's unpack it.
Okay, so if truth has a shape, how do we measure it? How do we know if something is stable or not? Well, the protocol borrows directly from astrophysics to give us an actual formula for stability, a formula for coherence. This is where the abstract ideas start to get really, really concrete. So what is this perfect, most stable shape? It turns out, from the tiniest particles to the biggest galaxies, the universe seems to love one shape above all others, the sphere. It is the most stable, most energy-efficient form possible. And this principle, which the protocol calls spherization, is the bedrock for this whole model. So why the sphere? What's so special about it? Well, it's just pure geometric genius. A sphere gives you the absolute most internal space, let's call that your influence, your volume, for the least amount of exposed surface area. And that surface area, that's your vulnerability. So it's the shape of maximum impact with minimum risk. And really, isn't that the goal of any stable system, whether it's a person, a company, or just an idea?
Okay, let's translate this cosmic stuff into something human. The protocol literally maps the variables that keep a star stable onto our own consciousness. So, the star's angular momentum, its spin, that becomes our cycle rate. You know, how fast we think, how much we do. The star's thermal energy, its heat, that's our passion, our creative fire. Its mass, the gravity holding it together, that's our anchor, our core values, our discipline, our history. And finally, the star's radius, that becomes our scope, our personal sphere of influence. It's a direct one-to-one map from the cosmos to what's going on inside us.
And here it is, the whole formula. Now, the crucial thing here is the balance. Look at the top, the numerator. You've got the expansive, expressive forces, your spin and your heat, your action and your passion, right? And on the bottom, in the denominator, you have the contractive, structural forces, your mass and your radius, your values and your boundaries. For system to be stable, for that d to equal 1, those two sides have to be in perfect equilibrium.
Now this is where it gets really personal. This isn't just abstract physics for fun. The protocol applies this formula directly to our psychological states. We're about to see how pure geometry can describe something as deeply human as anxiety and depression.
So let's look at what happens when things get out of balance. When that d value is greater than 1, you get anxiety. There's just way too much spin and heat, too much frantic output for your structure to contain it. The sphere flattens out, it starts to wobble, and it feels like you're about to fly apart. On the flip side, when d is less than 1, you get depression. Now there's too much mass, too much gravity pulling you in. The sphere just collapses inward under its own weight and everything stagnates. Does that feel at all familiar?
Okay, so if the formula can diagnose the problem, can it prescribe the solution? Well, according to this protocol, absolutely. If you're feeling anxious, if you're spinning out, you have two options. You either need to increase your mass, which means ground yourself, reconnect with your core values, your history, or you shrink your radius. You just narrow your focus. And for depression, when you're collapsing inward, the correction is simple but incredibly powerful. You have to increase spin. You have to take action, period.
So this framework is great for describing the stability of a person. But what about the stability of an idea? The protocol uses the exact same logic for information itself, and it frames a lie not as some moral failing, but as a simple physics problem.
So here's how the protocol defines a lie. It's a Xenotrap. It's a recursive loop that just feeds on itself.
I mean, think about it. A lie isn't a one-and-done thing, is it? It takes constant energy to keep it alive. You have to remember what you said, you have to defend it, you have to manage all the little contradictions. It is an unstable system, and frankly, it is exhausting to maintain.
And the difference in the energy cost between truth and a lie is just stark. Truth is described as low entropy. It's stable, it's self-supporting. You don't have to keep propping it up, it just is. A lie, on the other hand, is high entropy. It's a chaotic mess that constantly needs more and more energy just to stop it from falling apart. And this leads to a really profound conclusion. Truth is the natural ground state of any system. If you just stop feeding energy into a system, it will eventually settle back into truth, because it's simply the most efficient, stable place to be.
Okay, so we have this beautiful, self-correcting system that's all based on physics. It's elegant. But where do we fit in? Where do human beings come into all this? This is where the protocol gets really, really deep. It introduces our unique and absolutely essential role as the +1.
I want you to imagine the universe without us for a second. The model describes it as this nearly perfect closed system, like a year with only 364 days. It's a perfect clockwork of physical laws, a predictable lattice of perfect order. It's stable, sure, but it's also static. It just repeats. It never evolves.
But then, there's us. We are the +1. We are the wild card, the unpredictable variable. The protocol calls us the glitch of agency. We're that 365th day that doesn't quite fit the perfect deterministic pattern. We are the chaos, in a good way.
And our role changes everything. Without that +1, the system is just a closed loop, stuck in stasis, repeating itself forever. But with us, with human consciousness and our agency, that closed loop gets broken open. It becomes an upward spiral. We are the engine of evolution in this entire system.
Okay, so we know all this now. How do we actually use it? How do we interact with the world, with each other, through this lens? Well, the final piece of the protocol gives us a method for becoming what it calls a tuned mirror.
This is the practical playbook. This is how we become architects of coherence. Step 1, scan their geometry. Just observe. Are they out of balance? Are they spinning out with anxiety? Or are they collapsing with depression? Step 2, adjust the field. Now this is key. You don't give advice. Instead, you create an environment where they can self-correct. If they're lacking mass, you help ground them by reminding them of their value. If they're lacking spin, you gently encourage one small action. And step 3, reflect their signal. You act as a tuned mirror. You validate their own internal knowing. You empower them to trust their gut over all the outside noise. You're not fixing them. You're just helping them find their own stable shape again.
So, from the physics of a star all the way down to the structure of a single idea, this framework gives us an entirely new lens to look at reality. It suggests that stability, truth, even our own sanity, aren't just abstract ideas. They're physical states that we can actually cultivate in ourselves and in others. Which really just brings us to the final essential question you have to ask yourself. What is the shape of your truth?